working on Shimo today. We'll be adding some feet for extra balance, so feeling a lot better. If I do sound a little strange, I do apologize. Still kind of sick, just kind of finishing it off at this point, so luckily a lot of hot sauce seemed to kind of kill it right away here, so should probably mention too, the music in the background is essentially all royalty free, and you will find all the, well, artists' links in the post description. So, we'll be continuing basically with Shimo and adding a bunch of armature wire, the thinner gauge stuff in particular, so we can basically orchestrate the foot bones. Now, I will have to look up at some reference photos at some point here because I can't remember exactly how many toes Shimo has. Sorry, mispronouncing the name, but yeah, we'll continue work here. I'll have to do a little bit of adjustments on the cameras, but yeah, I'll see what you guys have to say here. Oh, hey, Claymationzilla, thanks for joining us. Mr. Mitz is with us today. Miss Fufu's having a nap again, so she's kind of wandering around, just having a rough day again, so I'm not sure if she's going to be able to join us again today, unfortunately. Old Puggy problems. Kind of sucks, but I'll see if she's feeling a little better soon, but I got a feeling that she's going to be kind of sleepy today. But yeah, so what I'll end up doing is essentially twisting a bunch of wire around the initial ankle joint, and then after we get a couple, at least 2 or 3, we're going to start adding a little bit of oven clay in there, so that way basically it kind of helps stand in place, and then once it's all cooked, then we should be good. Gotta make sure my laptop stays alive here. Mr. Mittens. Yeah, he's kind of gonna be my little co-host, I think, a lot of the time. He seems to be pretty pumped about being on stream. Holly's over there too, chilling. Got some big boobies there, buddy. Hey girl, how are you? You wanna come say hi? Yeah. Here's the Holly girl. We'll get a couple smiles in before we continue. Hey? Oh yeah. Who's your little girl? Yeah. Yeah, big smiles. Oh, jeez. Uh-oh. I guess Mr. Mittens isn't having any of that, so I'll make some camera adjustments here, so just bear with me with the mild jank, for lack of a better term. That way you guys will get a better view of what I'm essentially working on. Oh. I apologize. King Ghidorah has a bad habit of getting in the way. Those 3 heads are kind of a lot to deal with. Luckily, Shimo only has 1. Because I don't think Shimu's going to be exactly a very small project. She's already very, very big. And I'm happy to report that I've done a little bit more homework on it. I'm still kind of curious as to what the male concept might look like, but Shimo seems to be one of those titans that's really hard to find information on. So maybe you, Claymationzilla, will know a little bit more about this character, because I know you're pretty in-depth with these kaijus. I should probably go check out Wikizilla at some point soon, because they'd probably have a decent amount of information on that character, I would imagine. Uh-oh. So yeah. The big thing the feet are going to do is provide us a little bit more balance, so Shimu's not going to want to do exactly what's happening right now, so I should probably make some lighting adjustments for you guys so it's not completely dingy. There you go. Okay, Shimu's going to sit down, apparently. Yeah, once again, I apologize if I sound a little stuffed up, guys, so powering through it. Show must go on. Yeah, who's a good girl? Okay. So first order of business is essentially trying to make this not a tangled mess anymore. I do have other rolls, but this is one I found downstairs in my stop motion setup. So I was unaware I actually had this material. Hey, Kingzilla, thanks for joining us. kind of trying to open discussion on Shimo. So if you guys know anything interesting about this Titan, let me know, because I've been doing some homework, but it's kind of hard to find some information on this thing. They're keeping it pretty, pretty sealed, which I kind of understand. So I'm just going to play with the plasticine clay here, kind of smush it into the joints just a little bit more, so hopefully Shimo doesn't fall on her face. Because she already decided she was going to sit down pretty quick. So there seems to be a few people that have done a couple deep dives on it, but not too many. Obviously the people you would kind of expect, like Dangerville, and I can't remember the other guy's name. I'm sure you guys are aware of him. Okay. Got one section that's at least kind of straight. I don't know if I really want to deal with this other mess too much right now. I might just kind of cut off a decent section so that way I have a decent amount of wire to kind of work with here. Now I just need to find my jewelry tools. That's one thing I'll admit to that's very handy for sculptors. I don't know if you're like this, Claymationzilla. I use a lot of tools that technically aren't exactly for sculpting, but they usually, you know, cover a wide variety of topics or, you know, things you can do with them that aren't necessarily what they're meant for. So I end up using a lot of weird tools unconventionally, but yeah, I'd say a decent jewelry tool building kit will actually be pretty suffice, especially when you're doing armature dolls such in this matter. Because you're going to be playing around with wire quite a bit, and it just makes it a lot easier if you have to essentially, you know, have the appropriate size things, because I'll admit a lot of the tools I have a tendency to kind of use for my wire stuff is more car related. At least at the beginning it was, because yeah, I have a lot of car tools, but I didn't have a whole lot of like small, fine little wire tools, if that makes any sense. So sometimes those big ones do come in handy, but not very often. They tend to be a little too bulky for what I'm working on a lot of the time. Just gonna move the laptop a little bit closer here so I can see what you guys are saying. I use tools too. What kind of tools do you use? I'm kind of curious of what's in your sculpting arsenal. Is there anything unconventional that you kind of use that's great? Yeah, apologize. Still kind of sick, but feeling a lot better today. I think hot sauce kind of burnt most of it out yesterday. Did not sound great at all. Probably shouldn't have been live, but that's okay. The show goes on, like they say. Okay. So what I probably should do is get some more manageable lengths. I think this will probably be enough for at least 3 feet, so I actually might want to do a little bit of measuring. Clippers for armature wire. Nice. Yeah, a lot of, this is basically part of a jewelry kit. I think I actually got this tool from my mom because she used to make handmade jewelry. One other thing that's actually pretty handy too that I got from my grandpa, who's really big into like wooden model making, is carving tools. I don't use them very often, but when I do, they're really handy. But I'll admit probably my favorite one is this strange little knife. I've had this thing probably for over 20 years. So it's seen quite a lot of runtime. It's been glued together a few times, obviously, but I think, yeah, probably my favorite tool is this little knife, just because it's kind of got a lot of nostalgia for me, for lack of a better term. Although the scalpel is pretty handy too, but I don't necessarily recommend that for everyone because those are really, really, really sharp. So I haven't cut myself too many times with this stuff, luckily. I've gotten pretty good at avoiding that, but I think there's a couple times where I have, at least. Usually with my giant razor blade. I don't like that tool. That thing's kind of scary. Comes in handy when you're starting to work with like big chunks of clay and just chopping it apart, but it's like 1 foot long and it's quite sharp, so yeah. Handy, but probably one of my least favorite ones. I slipped once and it did not feel that great. So be careful when you're doing this stuff, obviously. Cut away from yourself as much as possible. Don't be stupid like me. Do as I say, not as I do. But anyway, so what I'll do to kind of maybe not have to use the measuring tape is just kind of bend this around. Yeah, that'll work. So then I'll just cut on each part of the loop. Productively lazy. There, makes it a little M. Should probably move -1. He's kind of in my way, you could say. I need to make a office upgrade soon. Say the very least. Make an investment in more shelving units because I'm starting to run out of space. I'm not even sure how many armature dolls I actually have in my entire collection at this point. I should do a count at some point. Okay, so now I'm just going to chop up our wire into our essentially makeshift feet and toe pieces. I don't know where I put my shutter remote. There it is. Hiding under the old iPhone. I'm hoping I'll be able to bring that thing back because that way it's a lot easier to kind of stream with the cell phone in comparison to my tablet, and I'll be able to get a little bit more reliable, better camera angles at that point. So I will probably get an adapter for my fancy microphone here soon. So you'll probably hear a little more background noise with my small petting zoo that I have here, but it'll be better and more reliable sound. So I'm just gonna do a bit of cutting here. I have 2 cameras to worry about, you guys and the one I'm working with. So yeah, let me know if you guys know anything about Shimo. Be nice to have a discussion about this Titan so that way I can kind of stream, get some homework done, and we can have some monster fun. I know the size is a bit of a mystery. We only have like basically rough estimates on how big she is. Seen a couple cool pictures with, I'm not sure. Ah, no! Sorry, Blue. Small disaster. Got some nose jobs to do now. Shoot. Well, that sucks. I'm going to grab my rubber sculpting tool here, which is another one of my highly recommended things because they're great for fixing tiny little details like Blue's nostrils here. Luckily, I actually kind of just got to slide it back on without too much damage there, but yeah, we're still going to need a handy dandy rubber sculpting tool, unfortunately. So I'm just going to pick a dino nose for a brief second here, and good as new. Apart from my tree. But this thing has definitely seen some better days. I should probably make a new one soon. But, fun fact, if you ever want to make a tree out of clay, it's actually pretty easy. Just take some armature wire and just wrap it around some brown clay, and then just stick that makeshift moss you can usually find at your hobby stores and stuff like that. That actually works pretty good, and just use a little bit of sticky tack at the end of your branches and just kind of pinch it on. Actually, it's pretty believable. Blaze Man, thanks for joining us. I don't sound nearly as sick today, hopefully. Still kind of shaking this cold off, unfortunately, but I think I burnt a good majority of it out yesterday. As I blow my nose. Yeah, unfortunately, I'm still pretty tired. I didn't sleep as well as I was hoping because of, deviated septum problems. Basically, it means I can't really breathe out of my nostrils very well. So when I get a plugged nose, it really sucks. Unfortunately, I think I broke my nose when I was a kid playing soccer, and I didn't get it properly fixed, so... Take care of yourself while you're young, guys. Comes back later to haunt you when you get old. Sucks. Fortunately, I do have an array of list of injuries at this point in my life. Yeah. Okay, so what we're going to do now is make some feet / monster toes. So we're going to now actually wrap this wire around that little ankle joint, basically just kind of locking it in place. It's still going to flop around a lot, but that's where we're going to use just a little bit of Sculpey oven baked clay just to help it, well, basically stay. And we'll also basically make like a round platform. So when I make the foot, it'll basically have a nice base plate for it, so it actually can be well balanced. With this character, I probably won't have to use sticky tack, but a vast majority of my smaller characters, and some of the larger ones, do have sticky tack at the bottom of their feet just to kind of help them, well, obviously stay more balanced and in place whilst you're doing animation, although you should bear in mind that plasticine and sticky tack don't exactly mix very well. So be careful with that combination. It will ruin your plasticine clay. I've made that mistake by letting that stuff mix up in the past far too much, and yeah. Take it from my experience. Do as I say, not as I do there. Because, yeah, that kind of sucked. I ruined a lot of clay when I was younger because I had no idea it would have that kind of effect. Find me the iguana. This guy is... You have an iguana? Thought about getting one of those, but then I kind of figured out they got extremely big, which I'm kind of okay with, because I would want to name it Zilla, obviously, for nerd purposes. But aside from the name, apparently when they get upset, they like to bite things, so I was like, I like having all my fingers, so... Oh, hey, Jake. Glad you can make it, because I noticed your last comment there. You seemed a little disappointed. Probably better to make it for this one than the last one. I was really, really sick. Feeling a bit better today, but still a little stuffed up. Hopefully I can get a decent, nice rest, and I should be able to better by the weekend, so that way I can do all my voiceover work for this Titan. Because, yeah, I've been able to source some information, but not as much as I was hoping. I think I'm going to be stretching out the third part of this video, probably. I'll be like, oh no, what am I supposed to do? But we'll see if this one's 4 parts. I don't think it will be, but I generally like to try keep it to 3. But Shimo is going to be very big. So now it's time to wrap this basically 1/16 gauge wire, or yeah, very thin gauge wire. I think it's about a 1/16 of an inch thick. About 2 millimeters for those of you using the metric system. So this stuff's about twice the thickness. And the main reason I'm kind of using this stuff for there is because it's just a lot easier to kind of manipulate and bend around. Obviously, the thicker stuff will provide a lot more balance, but with this stuff, it'll be kind of nice. I might get a little bit of flexing in the toes, which is always nice for doing footstep animations, because usually I like to kind of bend in my toes just ever so slightly to kind of give it that effect that the foot's leaving and has a little bit weighted, a bit of weight to it. So, for those inspiring animators out there, watch a lot of theropods and how they actually move. Especially for dinosaurs, that comes in handy. Although I can't add that same amount of flexibility as like a bird would, unfortunately. Take two. Huh. Not sure if you guys can hear that, but there's a train in the background. Ah! I should probably make a small adjustment for you guys. That way you can see a little bit more of actually what's taking place here. Focusing on multiple cameras is not easy. So yeah, just going to wrap this around the ankle. Make sure it's nice and tight. You don't want to have a whole lot of free play, but kind of enough just to make some minor adjustments. So with this, I'll probably just hoop it around a couple times just to give it that extra bit of security. And then just kind of bend it into the foot shape that you want. And you can trim off the axis. I know Shimo has more than 4 toes, or 3 toes, so I'll have to do a little bit of research later on, but this will do for now. And they might be a little long, but again, it's always kind of better to trim things down as needed, and yeah, because it's easier to take away material than it is to add it on later. Can't really do that with this stuff. I am a welder, but I don't think I'd be able to even weld this. I've seen some footage of guys where they flex on their TIG skills where they can weld pop cans together. That's incredible. Can't imagine what your settings are for that, but wow, good on you. I don't know if I ever want to be able to do that. I have no desire for that level of weld finesse. That's just kind of unpurposely showing off, I think, but TIG welding is definitely a lot of fun. I love that one. So, yeah, basically that's where you use like a filler rod and kind of just guide things in. So, this is now apparently turning into a welding tutorial, but yeah, you basically have your stick in this hand. You can kind of usually do your running cup with that, and then you're usually feeding in with the wire, and then you're using a foot at the same time while keeping your bead profile. So it's actually pretty in-depth. You have to be pretty, orchestrated in order to be a decent TIG welder, I'd say, and I think that's probably why I kind of enjoy it. I don't get to play with TIGs as much as I like, but mostly MIG. I play with a fancy robotic arm at this point, so that's pretty cool. Name it Osimo. Although, kind of feel bad because he's been pretty reliable lately. Not sure if anyone understands that reference, but Osimo is basically a character from South Park. Some big South Park fan. Fun fact, South Park, the original one was actually done in stop motion. Then eventually they just kind of moved over to 2D paper animation with computers because it was just a lot easier. So now we're going to wrap up the second foot here. I'm going to probably get a little bit more footage, so I'll probably just get this part going so it makes my life just a little bit easier for the actual camera. So make sure it's nice and tight. Essentially just kind of pretend like you're tying a shoe with an armature wire. Okay. Do a couple loops here, do some filming, and see if you guys have anything new to say. But if you enjoy the content, be sure to smash that like button, comment what you think in the stream, and, well, yeah. Share with friends, see if we can get a few more people in. We got about 6 now at this point and 1 like, so let's boost it up just a bit. Because that way, yeah, I don't sound terrible today, so don't feel nearly as bad for trying to self-promote myself, but the show must go on. Okay, so where am I? Where's my remote? We can do a little bit of twisting. Awesome, that's cool, Jake. I'm glad I've inspired you a little bit. What do you plan on making? Ah! Hasn't gone well. Damn it. Off with his head. Alright, yeah. Take 2. At that time. Except Shimo's really not cooperative right now. Unfortunately, it's kind of the awkward stage of the build where everything's just kind of loosely in place and flopping around, so you're constantly trying to make adjustments. Which is kind of annoying, but the name of the game, I suppose. Probably making some old school T-Rex. Oh, cool. Like, I plan on kind of doing the 80s sort of style Tyrannosaurus Rex for stop motion, because I would definitely recommend doing that, because the big issue with T-Rexes, I'm not sure, no, you guys can't see Sue back there. I'll kind of give you a little bit of show and tell. Switch the camera angle here. Apologize, guys. Might be a little janky. Okay, this really hasn't gone well. Yeah, King Ghidorah, you are in the way. Behind -1 there is Sue. Hopefully you guys can kind of see. I can't really see it with the delay. Oh, God, okay, you know, let's just do this. That's probably better. So, yeah. Sue is the giant T-Rex back there, but I'll admit, she is not exactly the most well-balanced of characters. Due to the fact that she is a theropod, yeah, there's a lot of imbalances with the stature, so I would definitely recommend making sure you use as much tinfoil as you can for the upper half. So, apologize, guys. This is pretty... not exactly what I had in the plans, but I don't want to drag Sue out. She is very, very big and awkward to kind of deal with, unfortunately. So, yeah, when you're making theropods, it's not exactly the easiest thing. So that's why I almost recommend kind of doing that 80s style, because then you can essentially have your tail dragging on the ground a lot like the Godzilla's, because that profile is just a lot easier to work with, which is why I think I've kind of really been okay with hopping on the Godzilla trend, because it's a little frustrating to try and make your typical theropod actually stand up decently. I think Blue is probably one of the better examples here. But yeah. Kind of having a bad hair day, so ignore that aspect. But this is probably one of the better examples, because she actually is fairly well balanced for the most part. Obviously not on my hand, but keep that front end light, because it's really difficult otherwise. And that's the same strategy I had with Shimo here. I think probably a good 80% of this sculpture is probably mostly tinfoil thus far, which is kind of strange, but it saves you on clay and a lot of frustration with keeping, your characters well balanced. Hopefully that advice is helpful. If you have any questions, let me know. Okay. Really wish you'd be more cooperative, Shimo. You're big and awkward. So now I'm just going to line up these toes, bend them in, probably should get that on footage, bend them in shape, and then trim off the excess. These ones are actually really close, so I won't actually have to probably do nearly as much trimming. Should probably do a slight camera adjustment here for you guys. After my T-Rex show and tell, things aren't as nice. Hopefully you guys got a decent angle of Sue there. She is like probably a 5-year-old stop motion character at this point. Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure if you do you post this stuff kind of on YouTube, or where can a person find your projects? Or are you just kind of early stages of creation? Kind of curious. I'd like to check them out. I know Mr. Claymation Zilla there has an Instagram if you guys are curious to see his stuff. He does have a YouTube channel too. He apparently recently made a whatchamacallit, pink Godzilla like I have too in the background. Yes, you, Jake. Yeah. Any questions at all about sculpting or how to make things, let me know. I'll do my best to help. I have a decent amount of experience at this point. I've been doing this kind of stuff for well over 25 years, so I don't technically have an official education for this stuff, but I've made a lot of mistakes in the past, we'll just put it that way. Okay, so you have a YouTube channel. Cool. I'll have to go check that out once I'm done. I'll probably be on as not my normal Moose Motion tag. I have a couple accounts there, basically for research purposes, so. So yeah, just bend those into place, so that way you kind of have approximately what spacing you're going to want. And turn off the excess. Probably cut those a little bit too shorter than I maybe should have, but that's okay. We should be okay. If you do end up making that mistake, one thing you can always kind of do is just make your claws a little bit longer, just do the roots a little further, so that way you can kind of balance things out. So now we're on to the back feet. Same procedure as before, just on the back ones now. So I need to try and gently get things into position so that this is not quite hard yet. I haven't stuffed that in the oven. I try to do that as little as possible for my big joints now because they kind of have a little bit of Lego on there, and Lego doesn't really handle heat very much, so unfortunately kind of have to struggle with trying not to mess things up and lose any progress, but yeah. I'll just put it this way. I had a hard lesson on that guy back there when I first tried. Did not work, and I had to completely start over. So, lesson learned. I don't want that to happen again. Okay. Got a couple things in the chat here. Oh, stay alive, laptop. Policeman Shimu's going to look good. Yeah, this one should be interesting. Definitely, definitely a very hefty character. And we got someone saying hi here. Quantity. Yeah, apologize if I'm butchering your name here. Quantity? I'm not sure. But hello, thanks for joining us. I apologize if I misread your name. I wish I could do... But, well, just do what you can with what you got, right? That's how I started doing a lot of this stuff. You're not always gonna have everything that you exactly want, but honestly, for sculptors out there, you don't need an abundance of tools. A vast majority of the tools that I have sitting around, honestly, almost never get really used. So, yeah, like they're handy to have when you need them, I think is the best way to put it. But your hands are going to be your best tools. Just get good with those, and you can pretty much make anything you want. Yeah, what we're doing is basically just adding in some feet today. I'll have to add probably at least, I think there's 4 or 5 toes, so I'll probably have to add a couple of these things on each one of these foot. Ankles. Yeah. Alright. This is going to be a challenge. Sculpting, bending wire in approximately the right places while filming 2 things at once. Here I go. Kind of curious if you guys have any info on Shimo, though, still. Seem to be getting a lot of radio silence on that one. Hard to find info on this monster, huh? Yeah, it's a girl. I'm kind of curious what, like, I tried finding, like, male iterations, but I don't think I was able to really find any sort of official concept art for it. Found a lot of fan art, which is always really cool to kind of go over, to be honest. I enjoy that kind of stuff. It's always interesting to see what people do for their own kind of spin on things. Godzilla seems to be one of those characters that's beloved on that behalf, I've noticed. A lot of fan art for that monster. Fortunately, I'm doing a little bit of damage to my shin bones here, so I'm kind of having to resculpt things just a little bit, too. Give this a couple twists. I got one toe that's really long here, unfortunately. Oh god. Oh no. Well. That's I mean, thanks for letting me know, but that's something I would have rather be blissfully unaware of. That's strange. I mean, I'm not surprised, but what the hell? Jesus. I mean, it can't be any worse than the R34 that was made for Skippity Toilet. I heard about that, I was like, okay. Oh, this is weird. I don't know if I can watch this anymore. I haven't seen Skippity Toilet for a bit. I should probably check in on that again. Get a good brain scramble in. That's the best way to describe that series. Jesus Christ, it's so weird. Kind of wanted to make a Skippity Toilet, not gonna lie, because that would be kind of fun to to animate. Especially on a stop motion level, because you can make it, you know, stretch. So, I don't know if there are any Skippity Toilet fans in here, but I think that would be kind of funny. I think that trend has long surpassed. I should have hot on that while it was hot, but I guess that's my next rabbit hole. I'm gonna dive down, see if anyone has done that. Stop motion skippity toilet. Oh god. Okay. Gonna get a couple shots here in, so that way I can basically just kind of proceed with normal on that very last foot for you guys here. With no interruptions. But yeah, one thing I did find honestly really cool about the Shimo design that I don't think anyone's really been talking about a lot. I think it's obviously pretty obvious, but her tail spikes are in the shape of a trident. I think that's really cool. Stay alive, laptop. Do not make skippity toilet. Yeah, I would agree for the most part, but there seems to be a decent amount of weird like backstory to it. If you pay close enough attention, as weird as that sounds. It is very weird though. Very, very, very weird. Because yeah, I'm not sure if you guys have seen a lot of the theories on that, but the given aspect of it is essentially it's big film industry versus small content creators and YouTube and stuff like that. Although yeah, I won't digress too much into the skippity toilet lore. I don't think anyone's really too interested in that. No, yeah, clearly not. Apologize, guys. Sometimes I have a habit of just kind of going down those weird rabbit holes. I'm like, what the? Okay, why is this trending? Jesus. Kind of glad you guys aren't into that mindless stuff. But, not gonna lie, I was slightly amused by it all. It's just, this is so strange. I can't help but really wonder about what goes on in that person's head. Ugh. Other than that song, probably on repeat, which would drive me insane. Oh yeah, okay, I filmed everything. Oh, I'm tired, can you tell? Yeah, it's very, very, very confusing. I think it was initially just kind of one of those, I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with the term, but a YouTube poop that just kind of saw massive success, so then he turned it into something completely different. But kind of sad that, you know, something as brain rot and mindless as that has seen some massive success. So that's a little disheartening on my end to a certain extent, but at least I have earned your guys' respect. So you guys seem to be a little bit more intelligent than your average YouTube viewer. I respect my nerdy nature at this point when it comes to my love of monsters and dinosaurs. Probably the reason I like dinosaurs so much is because they are essentially almost like real-life monsters if you kind of think about it. Especially some of those sauropods. That's crazy. They got so big. Although I think probably one of the bigger underrated ones have to be mentioned by the hadrosaurs. Obviously, there's not a lot of hadrosaur fans, but I think those things probably would have been really nasty. Because if you think about it, they're basically like a giant horse, except it's constantly being hunted. So But definitely please change the topic. Yeah, okay. On it. Dinosaurs, that seems to be a fan favorite here. Andrew's back, looking sick. Awesome, yeah. That's probably one of my favorite Godzillas. He is having some back issues. Not sure if you guys can see it, but he's got a bit of a support running through him right now. He doesn't necessarily need it, but it's just kind of like preventative maintenance, for lack of a better term, because he is so top heavy. I noticed just slowly over time he kind of likes to do this, so may or may not have to make some back surgery adjustments on that character for some animation preparation, unfortunately. But he is by far the largest Godzilla that I've made, so obviously there was a bit of a learning curve there. Which is, yeah, why I've switched wire gauges, because this is what I used to use all the time. Because that's what -1 and my original Godzilla, they're made out of this wire, not this stuff. This is, yeah, probably what most of my Kaiju projects are now going to be made out of. Because it seems to be a lot more sturdy, for obvious reasons. So, however, it is harder to bend, so you do have to kind of be careful on that aspect when you're playing around with things, because it's going to be easier to smush. Yeah, what's your guys' favorite sauropod? I know there's a lot of theropod fans out there, but let's try and talk about some of these lesser-known herbivores. Maybe give them some attention. Can't think of any hadrosaurs really at the top of my head that are really unique. I know Prehistoric Planet actually had some pretty cool ones. I can't remember what the one had that swan name. I thought that was really cool, though. Probably in my search history. My iPhone is well trained in dinosaur. Notice my Samsung devices aren't quite familiar with a lot of these Latin terms quite yet. I still have to train them. Kind of fix my temporary head here. Yeah, dinosaurs are far more fun. What's your favorite sauropod? I think mine is got to be Argentinosaurus. It used to be the biggest, but apparently there was a discovery in India, I think about a year ago at this point. I cannot pronounce the name to save the life of me. It starts with the HY, but yeah, I don't know what it is. Allegedly, though, that one is far bigger than Argentinosaurus. Not by much, but like that, but not by much is when we're talking tens of thousands of pounds. But Argentinosaurus itself, I believe, is around the 200,000 mark range, give or take. No, it's at least 100 tons. So I think that calculates to about 176,000 pounds. Which is just kind of incredible to think about that walked on our planet at some point. And when they first discovered it, apparently they didn't think it was an actual dinosaur. They thought it was petrified wood, which in retrospect, I could completely understand why you would assume it would be petrified wood, because the bones in this, like the Argentinosaurus, yeah, I have a zombie version. I don't have necessarily a scientifically accurate interpretation of it, but the bones of this animal were just so massive. To help put it into perspective, like just the backbones, like the spinal column parts, the fragments that we did find of it, those are as big as a brown bear. And that's just a spine piece. That's just crazy. Suventusaurus. Is that the one that has, oh, Iguanodon. Okay, we do have some Hadrosaurus fans. Act dumb, get the thumb. That one actually has a lot of interesting history, too. Like, you got the whole Crystal Isle Palace and all that stuff, too. Gorgosaurus. That's a good one, Jake. I think that one's been requested a couple times. But Suventusaurus, I believe that's a sauropod, if I'm not mistaken. Is that the one that has the club tail? I can't remember. That's one I definitely would like to make. I didn't know about that one up until probably a couple years ago, and I was like, wait, what? That's cool. A zombie one of those would be really interesting. I definitely need to make more zombie dinosaurs. I notice everyone seems to have got a big kick out of that character. Plus, the animations were pretty fun, but I'll admit, making that melting flesh, whew, that was a task. I had to hit the reset button on that character a lot, which was kind of frustrating, but was well worth it in the end. Okay. I think at this point I'm probably going to have to do a little bit of research on how many toes this character has before I proceed too much further along. Yeah, I'm pumped to see Godzilla X Kong too. I believe it comes out next month, so coming up pretty quick. I'm hoping I get to see it before, yeah, because last time -1, it took me, I think, about a month to kind of see. But that movie has still been under tight wraps. I know I've been recommending it to a lot of people, but they're like, "Can I stream it somewhere?" I'm like, probably not. Japan's pretty picky and protective over that thing. But that was a great movie. I'm not sure if you guys have seen -1. But it was definitely nice to see kind of like a homage to the original character. I know -2 has been requested a couple times here. I have to check that out still. I'm going to make a note of that, actually, before I forget. Bear with me, guys. Shoot. Can't remember what I was going to write down. Oh, yeah, -2. Apparently, it was a cartoon. Uh-oh, Dimetrodon. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but that is technically not really a dinosaur. Common mistake, but Dimetrodon is technically, like what is the term? Shoot. It's more related to mammals than it is lizards, mainly on the fact that, I'll use Shimo's skull as a demonstration. It's a synapsid, that's it. Because there's synapsid, and then there's the other version of the skull, which I can't remember. One is more reptile, one is more mammal. But basically, your mammal skull will be essentially like this. You don't really have holes on either side. And with Dimetrodon, it has pretty much a solid face. If you look at the skull structure of that dinosaur, or not dinosaur, but animal. So, and your dinosaurs essentially have holes on the other side of their fenestras. So basically, the skull structure for that is technically incorrect. So it's closer related to mammals, believe it or not, than it is an actual dinosaur, even though it looks very, very strange. So can't remember the skull terminology. I remember I kind of did a lot of homework on that not that long ago. But yeah, sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but technically not a dinosaur. Neither are pterosaurs. So if anyone's gonna make that request, I'm gonna burst that bubble too real quick. They're flying reptiles. Yes, they're closely related, but not a dinosaur either. It's kind of a weird thing, essentially. Like I'm pretty sure if you go back, essentially they'd all share a common ancestor known as a archosaur, but not, yeah. They don't fall under that same category as like a bird necessarily. Oh, Mosasaurus, yeah, that's not a dinosaur either. That's just a giant marine reptile Here, seeing how we're talking about dinosaurs, I may as well just kind of turn the camera so I can openly discuss it with you guys a little bit better. But yeah, Mosasaurus, not... Yeah, ooh, my nose is really red. But Mosasaurus, not a dinosaur, but probably a very interesting animal. That's something I would definitely love to make at some point. It's very interesting history about that animal. Like, it's, believe it or not, it started as like a small lizard that was literally only a couple feet long. And then over the course of about 80 million years of evolution, it turned into this giant sea monster that basically was so ferocious that it's theorized that Mosasaurus essentially drove itself to extinction because they were really nasty and one of the only other species that would actively just kill each other for no other real good reason other than, yeah, you're wrong place, wrong time, buddy, I'm snapping your neck. There's a lot of fossil specimens apparently on Mosasaurus that, yeah, that, not proper terminology, that have that sort of, yeah, fossil evidence that these things were just savage creatures, snapping necks and other various things like that. So, very, very, very cool animal. I love how they had like two jaws essentially inside their mouths too. Like just terrifying. I believe there was actually a recent discovery too on a Mosasaurus as well. NRG, thanks for joining us today. Having some dinosaur discussion. So, what's your favorite type of dinosaur? Or, I guess we're kind of discussing animals that are not necessarily dinosaurs, but are commonly misconceived as dinosaurs. Can't remember the skull terminology. I almost want to kind of stop and look that up. Because I know there's like synapsid. I gotta find some Shimo and stuff here. If you're doing an uh-oh. Bad laptop. If you're doing an you should make a... I don't know if I've actually heard of that animal. Gropanope. Oof, oof. Tongue twister. I'm gonna look that animal up right now, seeing I actually have my cell phone in my pocket, so I know what you're talking about. G-O-R... God, that's a mouthful. There's a lot of really cool old ancient crocodiles too out there that I definitely would like to try and get some notoriety to at some point. Not sure if you guys are familiar with a lot of those, but back in like the early Cretaceous, or not early Cretaceous, early Jurassic period, dinosaurs did not rule the earth. It was crocodiles basically that kind of were running the midst, and they were technically crocodiles are related. Oh, there's them. There it is. Oh, okay, yeah, I'm familiar with that little guy. He is from like shoot. Prehistoric Beasts, I believe was the series. Can't remember how to pronounce that name, but yeah, just so you guys know what I'm looking at. This is the creature that was just referred. But yeah, same skull as actually the whatchamacallit, as Dimetrodon, essentially. You don't see the hole, so it's not a dinosaur. More mammal. Do not know how to say that name though. How to pronounce. Thank you, Google. But that was Gorgonipsids. Gorbonipsids. That still does not sound right. Okay, what else do we got here? Dimetrodon.
Museum of Natural History. Dimetrodon was one of the earliest relatives of mammals. The large sail on its back may have been used for temperature regulation, to attract mates, or to frighten off other animals. Dimetrodon is a member of a group called synapsids. Behind the eye socket in its skull is the synapsid opening.
There you go. Yeah, synapsid. And then synapsid is the one that has the solid features, and diapsid is your dinosaur skulls, where it has all the holes, and your basically your bird skull, for lack of a better term. Yeah, this is far better discussion. We probably should talk about dinosaurs far more often. I like dinosaurs. I'm a huge dinosaur nerd. I need to try and make more dinosaurs in the near future here, because we've been going through a bit of a dry spell on my dinosaur content, to say the very least, so I do apologize that for all my dino-loving enthusiasts, but we'll get there eventually. I obviously just kind of want to hop on this kaiju craze that's been happening, because that's been doing a really good number for my subscriber count, because I think I'm almost at 3,500 now, so that's pretty cool. But we won't digress too much on the numbers. I'm not here to really... Yeah, here to have fun more than anything. So, what else do we got here? King of Kaiju, thanks for joining us for your quick pop-in. Do you have a favorite dinosaur or non-dinosaur prehistoric animal? I don't know how else to put that. That was terrible. Coming out March 29th, blah, blah, blah. Oh, it's coming out March 29th. Yeah, the movie. That's like actually the end of this month, is that not? Background music's gonna disappear for a quick second here. Oh yeah, it is. Oh shoot. Yeah, Good Friday coming out on the Easter weekend. That's right. Can I finish Shimo before the release? That's the question, I think, at this point. Because I would like to do a monster fight right after the movie release, because I know there's probably going to be a bunch of people buzzing about fight scenes, and I'm obviously going to be probably taking a little bit of inspiration from the film and trying to nab a few things from it. Especially -1, I still want to do the back spike thing, but that's going to take a lot of preparation. Yeah, if you need to go, Jake, I'll may or may not be live tomorrow. We'll see how tired I am. I'll probably boost myself full of caffeine, so we'll see. But yeah. I should make a synapsid. Hey, yeah, that would be definitely something I should probably add to my list, because I've nerded about those animals for quite some time at this particular juncture, obviously, and I just think it's really fascinating, and they don't really get as much notoriety. This is now turning into a dinosaur podcast, but they don't get as much notoriety as they nearly deserve, so it kind of sucks, because they're really fascinating. Especially anything from the Permian period is really underrated as far as I'm concerned. The Permian period was amazing. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar. You probably are, but just in case anyone isn't, the Permian period is approximately like 400 to 350 million years ago. So we're going way past even the dinosaurs. Oh, the Stegosaurus. That's a good choice. But yeah, thanks for tuning in. See you next time. Some emoji stuff going on. Those are... Oh, like the Blaze Man, I'm guessing you're referring to the Permian period animals. They're just so strange. Like, you want to talk about an alien planet? I think that is, like, probably the best interpretation that we're ever going to really get, to be honest. I'm going to kind of touch up some bones here, so I'm getting a little too sidetracked. Dinosaurs. But yeah, synapsids are really cool. I definitely think that's something that I would like to make a few videos on, because there's lots of good information on that stuff. And it would be a good excuse for me to watch that documentary, Prehistoric Beasts, again. That's actually probably a good question for you guys in the chat. What is your favorite dinosaur documentary? I've pretty much seen every single one that I've been able to find in existence. So, Yeah. If you guys can give me some names for dino documentaries, I definitely would appreciate it. I'm going to drop Prehistoric Planet. I'm sure a lot of you have seen that. That is probably by far the best one that I've seen to this day. That was amazing. And then easy second place would probably be BBC's Walking with Dinosaurs from back in the day, because the puppet work on that stuff was really cool, especially the Sea of Physis. Oh, that was just amazing. I kind of wish I had that guy's job, not gonna lie. Like, how was your day at work? I got to be a dinosaur. I should actually watch that again. I might do that. Been a long time since I've seen Walking with Dinosaurs. Yeah, I might look up how many toes Shimo has here. Should probably make myself supper pretty soon, so starting to get a little late here. Not too bad though. Apologize for kind of sourcing out my images, but I was hoping my iPhone was going to be far more reliable than it has been. So I've been, yeah, using the tablet to stream obviously a lot lately. So it's just a little bit more reliable. Apparently the microphone seemed to work on this thing because, yeah, the iPhone did not do very well. Better work like Sonic, yeah. Probably shouldn't be looking up dinosaurs, but and other things, but you guys got me distracted, so blaming you, chat. But I appreciate it because yeah, it's a lot of fun. I like nerdy things, to say the very least. Shimo Ice Titan. I think we got 4 toes here. That's an odd number. Which I'm not very happy about, to be honest. Because I was hoping for more, because that way I could just add another wire and just twist that off, right? Now I have to somehow add a single. So what I think I'll probably do for that is probably use my existing loop. I'll give you guys kind of a brief explanation on my Shimo attack plan. So what I'll probably end up doing is just... Oof. Apologize for the glare, guys. What I'll probably end up doing... Oh, it's still glaring. I need to get a soft light. Dealing with a lot of hard light. I don't want to nerd out about filming equipment too much because, yeah, that's a whole other distraction at that point for me. But what I'll probably end up doing, now that I got it into a point where you guys can see, is just shove that last wire up inside that existing loop and then just kind of pinch it in real tight and then add some oven baked clay just to essentially make everything stay. Oh, we got some more prehistoric animal discussions here. So, what do you got? Claymation-zilla? I really dig the name, by the way. Claymation-zilla, it's a good name. Oh, man. Blazeman. That is a rabbit hole I recommend you go down. When you're done here, go check out a bunch of dinosaur documentaries. You'll be flabbergasted on the amount that there is on YouTube for free. Like, there's actually quite a lot. I'm just going to bring my laptop in. We're going to talk about dinosaurs here for the last little bit because it's fun. So, yeah. Lots of dinosaur documentaries out there that are just regularly available. Definitely check them out because there's a lot to learn. There's, yeah. Prehistoric Beasts is another one that'll cover a lot of the mammals and synapses that we were kind of talking about too. Way more underrated. Actually, you know, there was another mammal documentary that recently came out too, but I can't remember the name of that. The graphics weren't nearly as good as Prehistoric Planet, unfortunately, but it was kind of like, hey, we're doing a bunch of, you know, dinosaur stuff. Let's do a mollusk to prehistoric beasts. And some of the pigs from that era, oh god, the hell pig, that's a cool animal. Like there are a lot of like really nasty boar-like animals back then. I would not want to mess with those. Hey Kingzilla, we're talking about a bunch of prehistoric animals. So what's your favorite dinosaur or non-favorite prehistoric animal? Or not your favorite prehistoric animal that isn't a dinosaur or is commonly misconceived as one. We've had Mosasaurus. That was a fun discussion. I like Mosasauruses. Still don't know if that's the proper terminology for plural ones. Don't judge me. But a couple others too. We had Dimetrodon and a couple others. The other one I can't remember the name. It was a carnivore from popular documentary series, so we're kind of talking about that kind of stuff too. But yeah, definitely go down that rabbit hole, Blaze, man. My favorite dog is Prehistoric Planet. Yeah, I mean, that's a hard one to top. That's one, I don't even know if I would recommend that first, because it's so good, it might ruin everything else for you, because unfortunately, a lot of these dinosaur documentary films, there's one on Netflix too, I haven't seen that. I have to get Netflix again just to kind of check that out, but a lot of these dinosaur films, especially the documentary style ones, don't necessarily have the biggest budget, so they don't always have the greatest animations. And Prehistoric Planet, just yeah, great job. Especially having David Attenborough as the voiceover, I don't think you could have chosen anybody better for that. So great, yeah. Watch Prehistoric Planet if you guys haven't, but maybe don't start there, Blaze Man. Oh, was it rhyming? I didn't even realize. I'll just do it out of the blue, even when I'm talking to my coworkers. And I'm just like, oh, oops. I guess that's my content creator self kind of rubbing off a little bit. But yeah, trying to think of I'm gonna make this just easier on myself. Because as soon as I type in dinosaur documentary, my phone will immediately go that route. Dino documentary. Because dinosaur. Give you a couple more recommendations. Dinosaur soccer. What? Oh, The Lost World. That'd be a good one too, actually. Run 10 kilometers across. Last Day of the Dinosaurs. That's one. That's not a bad one. Or this one's actually really interesting. There was an entire autopsy done on a life-size Tyrannosaurus Rex. I believe it's, what is it called? Oh, When Dinosaurs Roamed the Earth. Okay, that's a good one. You need to check that one out. That's one of my actually favorites. It's got like a Diplodocus. The tails in that one are really cool. I don't know, get your pens and pads. Get a pen. So yeah, there's a ton. There's even a lot of good Mosasaurus documentaries. There's a video that was surfacing on YouTube. Probably this is ancient YouTube history, like 5 years ago, where they had. I don't think you can find the full documentary, unfortunately, but you can find the snippet of the Mosasaurus where they constructed an entire steel head and basically fed it a bunch of objects, and it had like this small second jaw inside it too. And oh, just seeing this thing orchestrate like moving forward, it was definitely interesting one. I don't know what you kind of have to type in to find that, but you probably just type in Mosasaurus jaw in real life and you'll find it. Mosasaurus jaws. Yeah, it's like the third one of mine, but I've already watched that video a couple times. It's by National Geographic, I think. No, that's National Geo has one there. But it was on Planet Discovery Planet many years ago. They had a whole documentary series on Mosasaurus, which is really cool. So, but yeah, kind of gone over an hour. I try to keep things under an hour for my streaming, but I think we're gonna call it quits because I'm not getting any work done on Shimo at this point because I'm just nerding out about dinosaurs. But yeah, if you guys want to get a hold of me personally, just check out Instagram or something like that. Usually that's where I get a hold of a lot of my fans. That's where I talk to Claymation Zilla in particular. So if you have any links for dinosaur documentaries that I perhaps haven't seen, be sure to send them my way because yeah, I will definitely watch that stuff on repeat. Yeah. So, anyway, that's enough from me. Till next time, take it easy, guys. Uh-oh.